Hey, college football fans, and welcome to College Football Finale. I am Preston Hiefield. 21 NFL scouts were in Laramie, Wyoming today for Oregon's game against the Cowboys, and presumably the majority of those scouts were there to watch Wyoming quarterback Josh Allen. But by game's end, it was the quarterback on the other side, Oregon's Justin Herbert, who impressed the most. Let's run it back from Laramie, first road game of the Willie Taggart era, 7,220 feet above sea level. Pick it up. Early action, Ducks defense forced a 3-and-out to start the game, and Royce Freeman going to finish the first offensive drive, diving into the end zone, 7-0 Ducks. Later in the first, after Charles Nelson muffed a punt, Allen takes off on 3rd and 9, and he scrambles for a 10-yard touchdown. It's 14-7 Ducks. Cowboys only had 3 total offensive yards before that drive. Later in the first half, it's Nelson, and he's going to get tackled kind of awkwardly here. Comes up holding his right ankle. He would be carted off the field and spent the rest of the game on the sidelines with a boot. More on that injury in just a bit. After the 0-14 hole, Cowboys picked up a little momentum. Herbert gets strip sacked. Play was reviewed and certainly controversial, but the play stood. Wyoming would get a field goal out of it, but Herbert would get some revenge on the read option. His first rushing touchdown of the season from 9 yards out. 21-10 Ducks mid-second quarter. And then Herbert, little play action, hits Taj Griffin underneath. Finally healthy enough to get out there and play. Ducks were cruising up 28-10. That's Griffin's first touchdown since the UW game of last year. Tell you what, Oregon's defense locked in on Josh Allen. He finished just 9 for 24 passing for 64 yards with an interception and no touchdowns. And Tyree Robinson scoops up that fumble. Ensuing Ducks possession, Kenai Benoit scoring one of his 2 touchdowns on the day with under a minute to go in the first half. The Ducks led 42-10 at the break. This thing was not close, but we all remember the Nebraska collapse. Well, that didn't happen in Laramie. The defense locked down Allen. He's going to roll. Troy Dye tips it. A.J. Hotchkins picks it off. And the Ducks roll to 3-0. Freeman finished with 30 carries for 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oregon's defense equally impressive. They gave up just 183 total yards and stuffed Josh Allen. KVAL Sports Director Sky Muller was with the Ducks in Laramie, and he wraps up Oregon's road win.
On a night when dozens of NFL scouts turned out to watch Wyoming quarterback Josh Allen, it was the Oregon defense that stepped up and stole the show, holding Allen to 64 yards passing and forcing an interception and forcing him to fumble as well. And in the end, Oregon held the Wyoming offense to under 200 total yards and just 30 points. For Oregon fans that watched the 2016 Ducks, they're starting to realize that this defense is different.
You know, last year we get put in a tough area and people would like give in, and this year we're fighting back. So we've been handling adversity a lot better this year, I think.
Just keep playing ball and make this the defense that we all want. You know we can play defense. It's just pride and playing together, and I think that's one thing you see with our football team now is especially on the defense side of the ball that I didn't see before was they playing together and they having fun.
And guys just really want to be here and really want to get out there and prove themselves to the world because we know we have a bad rep from last year, and we just really want to get out there and show everywhere that we are a good defense and that we can do stuff the right way.
One unknown that remains after this game is the health of wide receiver Charles Nelson. He went down and was carted off the field in the first half. He would return to the sideline in the second half, but with a boot on his foot and on crutches. After the game, head coach Willie Taggart called it an ankle injury, and although he has not seen the x-rays, he did say he's optimistic the news will be better than he first feared when Nelson went down. Undefeated in non-conference play for the Ducks, now Pac-12 play begins with a trip to Tempe next week. In Laramie with the Ducks, I'm Sky Muller. Let's go back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Sky. Coming up next on College Football Finale, we head to the Palouse. The Beavers open Pac-12 play against Washington State this afternoon. Those highlights and more next.
Start fall.
Well, Beavers were up on the Palouse today to start their Pac-12 slate. Fresh off that embarrassing 34-point home loss to Minnesota, it would not be any easier today playing with a banged-up secondary against Mike Leach's air raid and quarterback Luke Falk. Now, Falk has traditionally torched the Beavers, but a bit of good news. Wide receiver Sept Collins back playing in his first game since last November. Cougs up early after a perfect punt. OSU has him pinned, and Luke Falk dumps it into the flat, and Sean Wilson makes the tackle for a safety. Beavers down 7-2. Still in the first, Cougs up 14-3, but the Beavs in the red zone, and it's the wrecking Knoll. Remember, only 7 carries last week against the Gophers. Not the case in this one. Beavs trail 14-9, but Luke Falk, the all-time leader in yards at Washington State for a reason, finds Isaiah Johnson Mack. Cougs took a 28-9 lead into the halftime locker room, and here's the concern. You know, the Beavers usually come out to play in the second half a little shaky, not the same energy, but pretty energetic couple moves there from Knoll. Taken off for a 45-yard touchdown, and that'll help amp the sideline up. It also cuts the lead to just 12, so you're thinking, all right, the Beavers are in this thing. Later in the third, same score. Falk finding his favorite target, Tavares Martin Jr., and he's going to do the rest. 57 yards to the zone. Cougs up 35-16. This one would start to spiral out of control. The Cougs strip sacks Luton for another touchdown, and then Luton gets flushed out of the pocket. Very scary play here. Luton takes a big hit. He laid on the ground motionless for a few minutes. He would have to be taken off in a cart. The Oregonian is reporting he was discharged from a local hospital and is moving extremities. So obviously that is a good sign. The Beavers did add a late touchdown from Daryl Garrettson to Seth Collins, but this thing was all Cougs. 52-23 your final. Ryan Knoll led the Beavers with 118 yards and 2 touchdowns, but OSU drops to 1-3 in 2017. They're off next Saturday before hosting Washington on the 30th. Well, Texas and USC squared off tonight for the first time since maybe the greatest college football game ever, the 06 Rose Bowl Natty. Back then, the Longhorns had Vince Young. Tonight, they started a freshman backup, Sam Ehlinger. No one was giving the Horns a shot against number 4 SC, especially on the road. You got Darnold on the other side of the field. Under a minute to go in regulation, we pick it up with Vince Young watching on. Shane Buechele's out, so it's this young kid, Ehlinger, rolling, and he's hitting Armonte Foreman. What do you got? A 17-yard touchdown. They take a 3-point lead. SC tied it up with a field goal at the buzzer, though. So double OT we go. Ehlinger about to score, but he's stripped. And USC recovers. So the Trojans, they got a walk-on true freshman kicker named Chase McGrath. And somebody get that kid a scholarship. McGrath icy from 43. SC wins in a thriller in double OT. Wow, the other team in Los Angeles with a baller at quarterback. Josh Rosen and the Bruins visiting Memphis. Things looking good early. Rosen with the play action hits Jordan Wilson for a touchdown. 17-7 8-clap leads, but you don't just stroll into the Liberty Bowl and come away with a win. Rosen scrambling, gonna throw late over the middle. That's a big no-no in the quarterback world. And here's the big fella, Tim Hart, taking it all the way for 6. Memphis gives UCLA its first loss of the year, 48-45. 2 other big non-con games in the Pac-12. Justin Wilcox and the Bears moving to 3-0 after beating Ole Miss by 11. And hold the phone, Stanford was up 4 late, but they ended up losing to San Diego State. All right, we got time to go national. College Game Day's venue of choice, Louisville. Reigning Heisman winner Lamar Jackson against that tenacious D-line of Clemson. Advantage defense in this one. Jackson is picked, and it's gone for 6, courtesy of Dorian O'Daniel. Clemson making sure the nation stays woke on the defending champs. And let's go to the Swamp. In recent years, it's been the de facto SEC East title game. Vols Gators quarterback play not good. That is putting it kindly. And this thing was 6-3 entering the 4th quarter, but there's C.J. Henderson. The 3rd pick 6 of the year for Florida gives them a lead. Tied at 20 at the end of regulation. Gators could not move the ball all day until a Hail Mary. It's Felipe Franks. What do you got? Tyree Cleveland at the buzzer. Gator Chomp a dog pile in the swamp. Florida wins it 26-20. That is one of the best videos you'll see all day. That'll do it for college football finale. Hey, thanks for joining us. No Inside the Pack tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow night on KVAL News at 11.